I'll just say one thing. Buckle up, because what you're about to discover about Texas will blow your mind. And by the time we reach the final fact, you'll understand why this state isn't just big, it's absolutely legendary. Number 35. The state that accidentally created a navy. Most people don't know that Texas once had its own navy. Not a metaphorical one, like an actual fleet of warships. During the Texas Revolution and the years as an independent republic from 1836 to 1846, Texas maintained a naval force that patrolled the Gulf of Mexico. The Texas Navy fought battles against Mexico, protected trade routes, and even conducted operations in the Yucatan. Today, the Texas Navy lives on as an honorary title bestowed by the governor, making it the only state with a ceremonial naval tradition. It's a reminder that Texas didn't just join America, it brought its own military history with it. Number 34. A desert that swallows sound. Yes, you heard that right. In the Chihuahuan Desert of West Texas, there's a phenomenon that defies explanation. The sand dunes in certain areas absorb sound so completely that you can shout at the top of your lungs and barely hear your own voice. Now, scientists believe it has something to do with the unique composition of the sand and the way sound waves interact with the arid atmosphere. Visitors report an eerie silence that feels almost supernatural. It's like nature installed a mute button in the middle of Texas, creating one of the quietest places in North America. Number 33. The town that refuses to die. Terlingua, Texas is officially a ghost town, but it's one of the liveliest ghost towns you'll ever visit. Once a thriving mercury mining community, it was abandoned in the 1940s when the mines closed. Instead of disappearing completely, Terlingua transformed into a quirky desert outpost where artists, adventurers, and eccentrics have taken up residence in the crumbling ruins. Every November, it hosts the World Championship Chili Cook-Off, drawing thousands to a town with no official population. The buildings are falling apart, but the spirit is very much alive. It's proof that in Texas, even ghost towns have character. Number 32. Lightning capital of America. While most people associate tornadoes with Texas, the state also holds a lesser-known title for lightning strikes. The corridor between Houston and Dallas sees some of the highest lightning activity in the entire country, with millions of strikes recorded annually. The combination of Gulf moisture colliding with dry continental air creates electrical storms so intense they can be seen from space. Texans have learned to live with the spectacular light shows, but the power and frequency of these strikes make it one of the most electrified regions on Earth. Mother Nature's fireworks display happens here almost daily during storm season. Number 31. The world's largest urban bat colony lives under a bridge. Sure, everyone knows about the Bracken Cave bats, but Austin's Congress Avenue Bridge hosts something equally impressive. Every night from March through November, up to 1.5 million Mexican free-tailed bats emerge from under the bridge in downtown Austin. This is the largest urban bat colony in North America, and watching them spiral into the sunset has become one of Austin's most iconic experiences. What makes it even more remarkable is that the bats were an accident. When the bridge was renovated in 1980, the new crevices created perfect roosting spots, and the bats moved in uninvited. Now they're beloved residents who devour tons of insects every night, providing free pest control for the entire city. Number 30. A canyon deeper than you'd expect. Palo Duro Canyon in the Texas Panhandle is the second largest canyon system in the United States, and most Americans have never heard of it. Carved by the Prairie Dogtown Fork of the Red River, this canyon stretches 120 miles long and plunges 800 feet deep. The striated walls display millions of years of geological history in brilliant shades of red, orange, and yellow. Unlike the barren landscapes of the Grand Canyon, Palo Duro is alive with juniper trees, cottonwoods, and wildlife. Early Spanish explorers called it Palo Duro, meaning hardwood, because of the resilient mesquite trees growing on the canyon floor. It's a hidden gem that rivals any national park in the country. Number 29. The accordion is the state instrument. In a state famous for country music, you might expect the guitar or fiddle to hold the title of official state instrument. But no, it's the accordion. This reflects the deep influence of Tejano and conjunto music in Texas culture, genres that blend Mexican, German, and Czech musical traditions. The accordion became central to Texas identity through generations of border communities creating their own sound. Today, conjunto festivals across the state celebrate this instrument, and some of the world's greatest accordionists call Texas home. It's a beautiful reminder that Texas music is far more diverse than most people realize. Number 28. A pink granite mountain you can climb. Enchanted Rock, located in the hill country, is a massive pink granite dome that rises 425 feet above the surrounding terrain. But here's what makes it truly special. The rock is one of the largest batholiths in the United States, meaning it's a huge underground rock formation that cooled slowly beneath the Earth's surface and was later exposed by erosion. Native Americans considered it sacred and believed ghost fires flickered on its summit at night. Modern geologists have a more mundane explanation. The rock heats up during the day and cools at night, causing it to crack and groan audibly. Whether you believe in spirits or science, standing atop this ancient pink dome at sunset is a spiritual experience. Number 27. Home to the oldest commissioned warship still afloat. The USS Texas, permanently docked near Houston, is the only surviving naval vessel that fought in both World War I and World War II. Launched in 1912, this battleship supported the D-Day landings at Normandy and saw action in the Pacific. It's older than the aircraft carrier design, older than radar, and somehow still exists as a floating museum. The ship is currently undergoing massive restoration efforts to preserve it for future generations. Walking its decks, you're literally standing on a piece of history that helped shape the modern world. And yes, it's entirely fitting that Texas would be home to such a legendary warship. Number 26. A town that moved itself uphill. When Lake Whitney was created by damming the Brazos River in the 1950s, the original town of Whitney was in the flood zone. So what did the residents do? They picked up their buildings, houses, stores, even the old jail, and physically moved them to higher ground. Using log rollers and trucks, the entire community relocated itself brick by brick. Today, you can still see some of the original structures that made that incredible journey. It's the kind of stubborn determination that defines Texas. When faced with an obstacle, you don't give up. You just move the whole town. Number 25. The largest honky-tonk isn't Billy Bob's only claim to fame. While Billy Bob's Texas is indeed massive, here's something even more interesting. Fort Worth, where it's located, was once the last major stop on cattle drives heading north. The city's nickname, Cowtown, isn't just marketing. In the late 1800s, millions of longhorn cattle passed through Fort Worth stockyards on their way to railheads in Kansas. Today, the Fort Worth stockyards still host cattle drives twice daily, a living reminder of when the cowboy era was real life, not a theme park attraction. You can watch Texas Longhorns being herded down the streets by real cowboys in the middle of a modern city. Nowhere else does that. Number 24. There's a replica of Stonehenge made entirely of cars. West of Austin in the town of Hunt stands Carhenge. It's exactly what it sounds like. A full-scale replica of England's Stonehenge, but made from vintage American cars buried nose down in the ground. Created by the same artist who made Cadillac Ranch in Amarillo, this installation takes roadside art to a new level. The cars are painted in various colors and covered in graffiti left by visitors over the years. It's absurd, it's quintessentially Texan, and it's become a pilgrimage site for anyone who appreciates the intersection of ancient history and American automotive culture. Number 23. The state produces more wool than anywhere else in America. While cattle get all the attention, Texas is actually the nation's leading producer of sheep and wool. The hill country around Fredericksburg and San Angelo is ranch country, not just for cows, but for massive flocks of sheep. Texas produces roughly 20% of all wool in the United States, and the annual wool and mohair production contributes hundreds of millions to the state economy. Drive through the hill country and you'll see them scattered across the rocky terrain, descendants of flocks brought by German and Czech immigrants in the 1800s. It's an industry that's quietly kept Texas warm for generations. Number 22. A town named after a loaf of bread. Okay, not exactly, but close. The town of Sweetwater got its name because of its unusually sweet-tasting water, a rarity in West Texas where most water sources were brackish and bitter. When settlers discovered a creek with fresh, sweet water in the 1870s, they built a town around it and gave it the most obvious name possible. But here's the kicker. Sweetwater is now famous for hosting the world's largest rattlesnake roundup every March, where thousands of western diamondback rattlesnakes are collected from the surrounding prairie. So you've got Sweetwater and deadly snakes all in one place. Classic Texas contrast. Number 21. The birthplace of the frozen margarita machine. In 1971, a Dallas restaurateur named Mariano Martinez was struggling to make consistent frozen margaritas by hand. Inspired by a 7-Eleven Slurpee machine, he adapted a soft-serve ice cream maker to churn out frozen margaritas perfectly every time. The original machine is now in the Smithsonian, but its legacy lives on in every Tex-Mex restaurant and beach bar across America. Texas didn't just give the world tacos and barbecue, it engineered the technology to keep your drinks cold and perfectly blended. Innovation comes in many forms. Number 20. There's an entire town built underground. Well, partially underground. The town of Comfort in the Hill Country features basements, something incredibly rare in Texas due to the rocky limestone terrain. But German settlers in the 1850s were determined to recreate their European-style homes. So they painstakingly dug cellars into the solid rock. Many of these historic basements still exist and were used as storm shelters, cold storage, and even speakeasies during Prohibition. Above ground, Comfort maintains its 19th-century German architecture, making it one of the most unique small towns in the state. It's like a little piece of Bavaria transplanted into the Texas Hill Country. Number 19. The smallest park in Texas is only 452 square feet. Millens Park in Portland, Oregon holds the record for the world's smallest park, but Texas has its own miniature marvel. Playwright Park in downtown Houston occupies just 452 square feet, about the size of a small bedroom. Despite its tiny footprint, it features a sculpture, benches, and landscaping. It was created when a local theater group realized they had a sliver of unused land and decided to turn it into a public space. In a state known for going big, this little park is a charming rebellion against the Texas-sized stereotype. Sometimes small can be perfect too. Number 18. A river that flows backward. The Comal River in New Iberia is the shortest river in Texas at only 2.5 miles long. But it holds another distinction. It's one of the few rivers in the world that can temporarily flow backward. During periods of extreme flooding on the Guadalupe River, which the Comal feeds into, backwater pressure can actually reverse the Comal's flow. This bizarre phenomenon has been documented several times, leaving kayakers and tubers confused as they paddle against a current that's moving the wrong direction. The river is also spring-fed and maintains a constant 72-degree temperature year-round, making it one of the most pleasant places to swim in the entire state. Number 17. Texas has more ghost towns than any other state. Over 500 abandoned communities dot the Texas landscape, remnants of booms that went bust. Some were mining towns that played out, others were railroad stops that got bypassed. Many were oil boom towns that went quiet when the wells dried up. Places like Terlingua, Thurber, and Toya are frozen in time. Their empty buildings standing as monuments to ambition, hardship, and the boom and bust cycle that defines Texas history. Exploring these ghost towns is like walking through a museum without walls, where every collapsed structure tells a story of people who gambled everything on Texas soil. Number 16. The longest main street in America. Fort Stockton claims to have the longest main street in the United States at 27 miles, though this is hotly debated by other Texas towns. What's not debatable is that Texas takes its main streets seriously. In the days before highways, these were the arteries of commerce, where everything from cattle deals to political rallies happened. Today, many of these historic main streets have been revitalized, preserving their vintage storefronts and keeping small-town Texas culture alive. Whether Fort Stockton actually holds the record or not, the pride towns take in their main streets reveals something essential about Texas identity. Number 15. A salt lake in the middle of the desert. The salt flats of West Texas, near the town of Del City, are exactly what they sound like. Vast expanses of pure white salt stretching across the desert floor. Created by the evaporation of ancient seas, these flats were a crucial resource for Native Americans and early settlers who harvested salt for preserving food. Today, they're a surreal landscape where the white salt creates a blinding contrast against the brown mountains. After rare rains, the flats fill with a thin layer of water that perfectly mirrors the sky, creating photos that look like they were taken on another planet. It's one of Texas's most otherworldly natural features. Number 14. The birthplace of Western swing. While Nashville is the home of country music and New Orleans claims jazz, Texas gave the world Western swing. This uniquely American genre was pioneered by Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys in the 1930s, blending country, jazz, blues, and big band sounds into something entirely new. The dance halls of Central Texas became the testing grounds for this infectious music. and Western swing quickly spread across the country. Today, dance halls across the state still pack in crowds every weekend, keeping this musical tradition alive. If you want to understand Texas culture, you have to hear Western swing and watch people two-stepping under dim lights and creaky wooden floors. Number 13. A spring that produces 250 million gallons of water daily. Como Springs in New Braunfels is the largest spring in Texas and one of the largest in the entire southwestern United States. Even during the worst droughts, it continues to flow, fed by the massive Edwards Aquifer deep underground. The crystal clear water emerges at a constant 72 degrees and immediately forms the Como River. This water has sustained life in this region for thousands of years, and today it supports a thriving ecosystem of endangered species found nowhere else on Earth. The springs are proof that underneath Texas's dry surface lies a hidden world of underground rivers and vast reservoirs. Number 12. Texas executed its own ambassador. In one of the strangest episodes of Texas history, Mirabeau Lamar, the second president of the Republic of Texas, ordered the assassination of the Cherokee Chief Bull in 1839. Bull had been serving as a diplomatic liaison between Texas and various Native American tribes. The brutal betrayal and subsequent forced removal of the Cherokee from Texas remains one of the darkest chapters in the state's history. This isn't taught in most Texas textbooks, but it's a crucial reminder that the state's history is complex, often painful, and far more nuanced than the simplified narratives of cowboys and pioneers. Number 11. The state almost split into 5 states. When Texas joined the United States in 1845, the annexation agreement included a unique provision. Texas could divide itself into as many as 5 separate states if it chose to do so. This wasn't just theoretical. The idea has been proposed numerous times throughout history, most recently in the 21st century. If it ever happened, Texas could gain 8 additional senators in Congress, fundamentally shifting American politics. The provision still technically exists today, though the logistics and politics of actually splitting Texas make it extremely unlikely. Still, it's a constitutional quirk that makes Texas unique among all states. Before we get to the final facts that reveal just how extraordinary Texas truly is, remember to subscribe to the channel and give it a like to keep learning fascinating secrets about every state in America. Number 10. The town that celebrates its UFO incident annually. Stephenville, Texas experienced one of the most credible mass UFO sightings in recent history in January 2008. Dozens of residents, including a pilot, a police officer, and other reliable witnesses, reported seeing massive unidentified flying objects in the sky, some described as a mile wide. The military initially denied any aircraft in the area, then later admitted to running training exercises. The incident has never been fully explained, and Stephenville now embraces its place in UFO lore with an annual festival. Whether you believe in extraterrestrials or not, something strange happened in the Texas sky that night, and the town isn't letting anyone forget it. Number 9. A bookstore made from a church. In Marfa, Texas, a historic 1920s church was converted into one of the most beautiful bookstores in America. St. George Hall isn't just a place to buy books, it's an architectural experience. The original stained glass windows filters colored light across shelves of carefully curated titles, and the vaulted ceilings create an almost sacred atmosphere for browsing. Marfa itself has become an unlikely art destination in the middle of nowhere, drawing artists, writers, and creative types to this remote desert town. The bookstore church perfectly captures Marfa's blend of reverence for history and embrace of unconventional culture. Number 8. Texas has its own language. Okay, not officially, but Texas English is distinct enough to be considered a dialect. Linguists have documented unique pronunciations, vocabulary, and grammatical constructions that exist primarily in Texas. Words like y'all, fixin' to, and might could are grammatically complex constructions that outsiders often mistake for poor English. But they're actually sophisticated linguistic features. The Texas accent itself varies dramatically across the state, from the drawl of East Texas to the clipped speech of the Panhandle to the Spanish-influenced rhythms of the border. Language scholars study Texas English the way they study any regional dialect, because it's a living, evolving form of American speech. Number 7. The only state to have been an independent nation. Yes, we all know Texas was its own country, but here's what makes it truly remarkable. The Republic of Texas lasted nearly a decade, from 1836 to 1845. During that time, it had its own currency, its own diplomatic relations with European powers, its own military, and its own postal system. France and Britain officially recognized Texas as a sovereign nation. Sam Houston served as president, and the Republic struggled with debt, border conflicts, and the question of whether to join the United States. This wasn't a brief rebellion, it was a functioning independent country with all the complications that entails. No other state can claim that kind of history. Number 6. The oldest public building in continuous use. The Alamo gets all the fame, but the Governor's Palace in San Antonio, built in 1749, is the oldest public building in Texas still serving its original purpose. Well, sort of. It was the residence and office of the Spanish governors who ruled Texas when it was part of New Spain. Today, it's a museum, but the building has been continuously maintained and occupied since the mid-17th century. Walking through its rooms is like stepping through centuries of Texas history, from Spanish colonial rule through Mexican independence, the Texas Revolution, and statehood. The walls have witnessed the entire transformation of Texas from frontier outpost to American state. Number 5. A forest where the trees scream. The Lost Pines Forest near Bastrop is an isolated stand of loblolly pines that somehow survived hundreds of miles from the rest of their species in East Texas. Scientists aren't entirely sure how they got there or why they persisted in soil and climate that shouldn't support them. But here's the eerie part. During high winds, the pines create an almost human-sounding wail as air moves through their needles. The phenomenon is so unnerving that early settlers believed the forest was haunted. Modern explanations point to the unique acoustic properties of the trees and the way sound travels through the isolated grove. Haunted or not, hiking through the Lost Pines on a windy day will raise the hair on your neck. Number 4. The largest organic farm in America. Roseland Organic Farms in Pecos County spans over 4,000 acres, making it one of the largest certified organic operations in the United States. In the middle of arid West Texas, where conventional wisdom says nothing should grow, this farm produces enormous quantities of organic onions, melons, peppers, and other crops. The secret is the ancient aquifer water and innovative sustainable farming techniques that work with the harsh desert environment rather than against it. It proves that Texas agriculture isn't just about beef and oil anymore. The state is quietly leading revolutions in organic farming, sustainable practices, and proving that even the desert can be made to bloom. Number 3. The town that sued God. In 2013, a Texas man filed a lawsuit against God, claiming the Almighty had made terroristic threats against him and all of humanity. The case was actually accepted by the court in Tarrant County, though it was eventually dismissed for lack of a valid defendant address. The judge's dismissal noted that while God might be omnipresent, serving legal papers proved problematic. The case became a national joke, but it also highlighted something essential about Texas. The legal system takes itself seriously, even when dealing with the absurd. Only in Texas would a lawsuit against the creator of the universe actually make it to a judge's desk. Number 2. A natural bridge older than humanity. Natural Bridge Caverns near San Antonio features a 60-foot limestone bridge that formed over millions of years. Beneath it lies one of the largest and most spectacular cave systems in Texas, with rooms tall enough to fit a football field standing on end. The cave was discovered in 1960 by college students who squeezed through the narrow opening and found themselves in an underground cathedral of stone. Today, it's a popular attraction, but what's humbling is the timescale. Every formation in that cave took hundreds of thousands of years to develop, drip by patient drip. Humans have been in Texas for maybe 15,000 years. The caves have been forming for 10 million. It's a reminder that this land has deep roots long before people arrived. Number 1. Texas is bigger than you can comprehend. Let's end where we began, with size, but not just geographic size. Texas is bigger in ways that defy simple measurement. It's bigger in spirit, in ambition, in the sheer audacity of its people who looked at empty land and built empires. It's bigger in diversity, containing swamps and deserts, forests and plains, mountains and beaches within its borders. It's bigger in contradiction, a place where cowboys ride in rodeos while tech entrepreneurs code in gleaming offices. It's bigger in history, having been ruled by 6 different nations and existing as its own country. It's bigger in culture, influencing everything from music to food to language across the entire nation. When people say everything's bigger in Texas, they're not just talking about steaks and belt buckles. They're talking about a place that refuses to think small, refuses to be ordinary, and refuses to apologize for taking up space. Texas is an idea as much as it is a place. The idea that big dreams belong in big places, and both belong in the Lone Star State. Texas isn't just a state on a map, it's a living, breathing contradiction of a place where history and modernity collide, where the landscape changes every 100 miles, and where the people are as diverse as the terrain. From underground caves to UFO sightings, from frozen margarita machines to independent nationhood, Texas has carved out an identity that's impossible to ignore and even harder to define. So the next time someone tells you everything's bigger in Texas, nod knowingly. Because you now understand it's not just bigger. It's bolder, stranger, older, and more fascinating than most people ever realize. Now that you know these 35 facts about Texas, tell us which ones surprised you the most. Drop a comment and let's see how many of us picked the same fact. And if you think we missed something incredible, share your own Texas knowledge below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a like so we can keep exploring the hidden wonders of every American state together.